to welcome today to our office the interim CEO and the COO, Sam Clarke at Laws. Sam, thank you very much for your time today. We are so excited to have you here at You've Got Maid office.
Wonderful. I'm so happy to be here, Natasha. I love having a conversation any chance I can get about laws and our mission. So thank you so much for having me here today.
You are welcome. Tell us a little bit about this wonderful organization.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Laws, I hope many people know, but Laws is the designated domestic violence and sexual assault organization for Loudoun County. So many of us in the community probably know that Laws has been the provider of domestic violence services, and a lot of us think of Laws as the Loudoun Abused Women's Shelter. We are much more than that. Recently we have expanded our name to be Laws Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Services because it really encompasses a lot more of what our mission is. For anyone who may not know in the community, we are so much more than a shelter, and we provide comprehensive services to victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, dating violence, and stalking. We serve children, youth, and adults, and we serve all victims. I think there's a belief in many communities that it's only women, that are victims of violence, but anyone can be impacted by violence. And we want to make sure that our doors are open to anyone who needs help. So some of the services that we provide, obviously we provide Loudoun County's imminent danger domestic violence shelter, and that is available to anyone in our community who is fleeing imminent danger, and I'm happy to speak more about that. We offer a 24/7 hotline, so anyone who is in crisis or just wants information, and that can be someone who is working with an individual in the community, or a family member, or friend, or church member, who just wants to know a little bit more about what domestic violence is or sexual assault is, because they think they might have a person in their life who is at risk. They just want to know more. So they can call our hotline and get information. We can work with individuals who might need therapy after abuse. So we have a few therapists, several therapists on our staff who provide trauma therapy after experiencing domestic violence, sexual assault, dating violence, or stalking. We provide hospital accompaniment after someone has experienced the trauma of abuse, whether that's domestic violence, sexual assault. Our advocates will go with them to the hospital to make sure that they're not alone in that experience, right? So they have someone with them there to navigate that experience and feel supported and heard. Our advocates will also accompany them to court. You know, the experience of getting a protective order can be overwhelming and scary if you've never had to navigate that experience before, especially if you've recently experienced trauma, right? Your brain may not be processing information the same way. It's even more frightening if you're not originally from the United States, or you don't speak the language. Either you speak the language in a limited way or not at all. So some of our advocates speak Spanish, but we always have access to interpreters to make sure that our survivors can navigate, the system in as easy a way and as supported a way as possible. We also offer legal services. So we have 2 attorneys on staff. We're very, very lucky and blessed to be one of very few programs in the Commonwealth that have legal services as part of our programming. And so we have a protective order attorney, and we also have a family law attorney. I won't go into all the details of those particular legal services, but it's been such a blessing to survivors to be able to have that no-cost legal support. One last thing that I'll say is, as part of Laws, we also oversee the Loudoun County Child Advocacy Center, which is where child victims of physical abuse or sexual abuse can go to get a child-centered, victim interview by trained advocates and interviewers. And that's a multidisciplinary response that we do in a public-private partnership with our community partners here in Loudoun County to make sure that children have the absolute best support possible when navigating the trauma of child abuse. So we also oversee and support that programming here in Loudoun County. So that's just a little bit about laws.
Wow, you are busy guys.
We are very busy
wow.
supporting this response in Loudoun County, but we are very, very happy to do it.
Is there any something that you accomplished since you have been with them? How long have you been with Laws?
I have been with Laws for a year this month actually. I came to Laws in March of 2021, and it was my pleasure to do that. Prior to that, I was doing similar work over in Arlington County, so I have enjoyed a long career working in victim services. But with some things that I'm proud of, there's just so much to be proud of. One of the things that I'm always quick to talk about is just how proud and humble I am, or proud I am and humbled I am by the staff at Laws. Every single day they show up and they do incredible work, working directly with and directly beside survivors of violence and survivors of intimate partner and interpersonal violence. They are the ones who do the work. And I could not be more humbled to work with them. So that is what I'm proudest of, is being able to support them in the work of helping survivors find safety. I think I'm also incredibly proud of Laws' commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion and access, because as I said earlier, Natasha, it's this kind of old way of thinking that it's women who are abused, right? And women are most certainly abused. I don't mean to undermine that. They are the primary victims of abuse in our community and in our society. But it can't underpin the importance of understanding that there are male victims, and there are victims across many identities and orientations and races and ethnicities and ages. And we want to make sure that we're communicating to Loudoun County and all of our citizens and every community within Loudoun County that our doors are open to them and our services include them and we are accessible to them. It does not matter what language you speak. It does not matter
who you are.
It does not matter what you believe. We are here to serve our entire community, and that's incredibly important. So I'm very proud of Laws and their work around being inclusive and ensuring access to everyone in our community. I think I'm also incredibly proud of our commitment to our partnerships in Loudoun County. We can't do this work alone. The work of victim services, of survivor services, takes a village. Our public-private partnerships are critical. We work with law enforcement. We work with law enforcement across our county. We work with hospitals. We work with our school partners. We work with our vast network of nonprofit partners across the county. We work with our very valued private businesses, right? And because it takes a community coming together to understand that there's a need for services like Laws, and to come together to make sure that those services are provided when a victim needs help. And so those partnerships are just critical. And so I'm incredibly grateful for Laws' investment in those. And then, I can't stress enough the amount of effort and advocacy that goes into making sure that as we continue to navigate COVID, that we have the resources necessary to do that. As we sit here without masks and we're having a great conversation, Natasha, we can't underscore the fact that we still are navigating the challenges of COVID. And so it's been an incredible year of navigating the need for resources, the challenges, the ups and downs, the continued demand for services, way beyond our capacity at times. And that's been a tremendous accomplishment, is to keep our doors open, to keep ourselves staffed, to keep ourselves funded, and to keep ourselves available as a resource to every survivor who needs us.
That's great. That's awesome.
Thank you.
What are the most need for you guys this year?
Oh gracious. I think I'm always wanting to prioritize safety. So I think for us, what I would say around that is for the community to know that we're here. The greatest need for us is for the community to know that if they know or see someone needs help, we need them to call us. because we want them to know that we're here. We also need to safely and effectively continue to navigate COVID. When we're at the, I don't say mercy to some extent, of the unpredictability of a pandemic, it makes us vulnerable, and when we as an organization feel vulnerable, whether that's due to public health issues or funding concerns, when we have that vulnerability, our survivors have that vulnerability. And so for us, I think one of our greatest concerns is to be able to safely navigate the impacts of COVID to make sure that our resources are available to survivors. I think going forward, we're also trying to kind of move forward from COVID, move forward into the, whether you call it next normal or what life is going to be going forward. COVID has taught us a lot of valuable lessons as a provider. All of us. We've all learned so much in the last few years. As a critical service and a life-saving service in this community, it's also taught us, how important it is to listen to survivors. And I'll give a couple of examples. One is that, our model of therapy used to be, come on in and see your therapist. Your therapist can see you at 2:00, and many of those services are also available in these other communities. And we're here to make sure that you're aware of them, and to make sure that you get connected to them, whether you're here or there. The other thing to that point, Natasha, thank you for bringing that up, is let's say hypothetically that you experienced, unfortunately, a sexual assault, but that sexual assault or sexual violence occurred in Loudoun County. Let's say that you were enjoying an evening out here, or you were just visiting, you were from out of town. If that violence occurred here in Loudoun County, but you live outside of Loudoun County, laws can serve you, right? There has to be a connection to Loudoun County in some way for us to serve you. And that's usually how it works with many of our regional partners. But at a minimum, like I said, violence does not know county boundaries. And we are going to make sure that a person who's experienced intimate partner or interpersonal violence is going to get connected to the help that they need.
Do you mind to share with us how, maybe the phone number?
Of course, thank you, yes. So what people can do if they need help and they don't know like what number to call, always call our hotline. That number is going to be 703-777-6552. That's going to be 703-777-6552. And like I said before, if it's like, I don't know who to call, I'm not sure if this is the right number, or I just have a question about something that might have happened to my friend, or I'm working with a kid in my high school, we will take all of those questions, because I can't stress enough, it's better that you call us and talk to laws and let us help you figure out some answers or answer your questions or put your mind at ease, and direct you to the right person, or maybe we are the right person, than to not have questions answered and to be anxious and worried and stressed and not get the support or help that you need. And people can call our hotline as many times as they want. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have some survivors of violence or victims that are trying to figure out, or trying to make decisions, and they may call many, many times, and that's okay. These are not easy decisions to make. These are not easy things to understand, and we're here to partner with people who call our hotline to help them make the decisions that are best for their lives. And that's really, really important. The other thing that I think is important to know, and I always like to stress this about our hotline, is it's a 703 number because we're right here in Loudoun County. We're right here, we're part of this community. We serve Loudoun County. Our advocates live and work here, and we're very invested in this community, and we want to build a safer community that hopefully is free from violence. That's our vision, is that we all get to live safely in a community that's free from violence. So we're here invested in that work right with you.
This is so great information. Thank you for sharing
Of
this
course.
with me and with everyone who
Yes,
is
absolutely.
listening.
I'm so grateful
and thank
for
you
the
for your
opportunity.
time too. I know you are so busy lady, but I'm glad I was able to steal a little bit time from
My
you today.
pleasure. This is important. It's important to share with our community that we are here and that we are here for them. So,
Thank you, Sam.
my pleasure. Thank you, Natasha.